Right.
Are we on?
We're on. Let's go then, Jim. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, all good. All good.
All good. All good.
Yeah, not bad.
It's been a funny few months, isn't it?
You could say that, yeah.
Yeah. Something's happened to you. You've grown a beard.
Yeah, well, right, I'll be honest with you. You know, I just couldn't be bothered anymore, you know, with the whole shaving every day and, you know, because I've got no one to see, you know, so when I was touring all up and down the country, you know, it was, you know, you make an effort, don't you, you know, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Some of us can't ever be bothered. So, yeah, thanks for doing this.
No problem.
It's just good to have a chat, and mainly because I haven't seen you for a while. Because obviously we should have been playing at the Flowerpot. I can't even remember when it was. The last one should have been April, I think. So I know the answer to this because we've messaged about this, but obviously you should have been pretty busy this year, shouldn't you?
Yeah, this year was.
Sorry to remind you.
No, it was. It was going to be my busiest year, you know, and I had a lot of interest from agents and stuff, you know, and it was kind of my career was heading, you know, in the right direction, you know, and I remember actually when all this started, there was loads of people saying, "Oh yeah, we've got gig cancellations and stuff," and I was thinking, "Oh, I'm all right. I've still got all my gigs intact, you know." And then a couple of weeks later, well, I remember I had I think it was around March sort of time, and I had a Thursday to Tuesday kind of long weekend, you know, starting from like Newcastle, going all the way down to bloody, I think it was like Falmouth or something. And yeah, one by one, it just got cancelled, you know, and then of course the whole thing kicked off and well, chuck my diary away, you know.
Yeah. So, but well, let's be positive then now. I guess there's positivity coming back because there's stuff starting to happen already. What do you envisage, or when do you envisage getting your stuff back up and running? I suppose by sort of a knock on for that, getting the Flowerpot and the Mondays back up and running. How do you think that's going to pan out?
I mean, in all honesty, for me personally, I can't see me back out until next year.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I think you're right.
And that, for me, you know, if I'm going to go back to music, it's got to be full time. I've got to be out every weekend. You know, I'm not just going to do a couple of gigs a month while it all picks up, kind of thing. You know.
Yeah.
So I think I'd rather wait and get my diary full and then go back out, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
With the Flowerpot Mondays, it's kind of as and when they're ready to start it again. To be honest, I know they're doing a few things on the weekend and whatnot, you know, and just trialing it.
Yeah.
And I think it's been going all right. But yeah, as I say, the Mondays, you know, I've just got to wait and see, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I've noticed quite a few places going in for the outdoor thing because we can do that at the minute. But bring your own mic.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? You know, all this like social distancing and you know, just having to wash your hands and stuff. You know. It's. I mean, I was at the Flowerpot a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
It was strange. You know, you can't go that way. You've got to go this way, and like you've got to stay 6 to get your beer, and and it's and that's the first time I've been to a pub since March the something.
Right. I saw you post of your pint glass. Yeah.
Obligatory pint glass post.
yeah. Well, there's going to be lots of them these days at the moment instead of people's tea. I mean, a tea meal. Yeah, sorry. So the whole point of what I've been trying to do with these things, I guess, is to just have a chat with people, fellow musicians that I've run into over the past several years now. Blimey. Let's just, before we get onto your main instrument, let's just talk about the guitar, just briefly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You play left-handed, don't you?
Yeah, I'm what I like to call a proper lefty. So I get a standard right-hand guitar and I just flip the thing upside down. And I mean, my dad, he's left-handed as well, but he taught himself to play right-handed, like a lot of left-hand players.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to get guitars, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he tried showing me a few. I mean, we're talking back when I was like 4 or 5. He'd show me a few chords, and it wasn't comfortable. Having right hand, it didn't feel right.
No.
So he swapped the strings around, and that was even worse.
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, you're probably left-handed then." So got me a left-hand guitar, and I said, "Well, it feels better, but the strings don't make any sense, The only way I can play is literally just flipping it upside down, and I've had to kind of modify chords and stuff, So I use a lot for like G's and whatnot.
Right. So you're that's just so straight over then. So you're 6 strings on the bottom there.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So it makes for some interesting strumming patterns.
That's the thing. You see, I'm as right-handed as they come. I couldn't be any more right-handed, right? But my daughter is very left-handed.
Right.
Yeah. So we had a very similar thing. She plays the ukulele. We've got a nylon string acoustic that's mine that I've restrung for her. Because I wanted to try and play right-handed if she could, but I wasn't going to and it didn't work out. She wasn't comfortable with it, but but a couple of times she's took my guitar off me and played it for her. So she's playing it left-handed again with the 6 string on the bottom, and when she's strumming, it's interesting actually. Yeah, because obviously you're hitting the thin strings first, the high pitch strings. So how long did how's that made you modify how you play like an E minor then, for example? Do you have to sort of think of an upstrum to get the bass note first, or do you not bother with it and just play?
I mean, I strum kind of how you would strum, but obviously I
the way around.
hit the string first. I mean, a lot of the time I do kind of like a ska rhythm, so I'm doing lots of upstrokes.
Yeah.
Which
I get that. Then you're hitting the bass note first, aren't you? Yeah.
So everything's just completely the wrong way around, to be honest.
Yeah. So did you? How old? Well, no, I won't ask you how old you were when you started. That's a very personal question, because then you give your age away, don't you? And I don't like doing that. Well, when you first started sort of getting into music and playing, then what sort of bands were you listening to from a guitar point of view?
Oh, now then.
Or maybe just it was like what were the first sort of more sort of rocky bands you got into then when you were younger?
The first kind of rock band that I got into was Marilyn Manson, actually.
Right.
I was at secondary school, and my mate came in with this tape that he'd recorded from one of his uncles.
Yeah.
He'd been to his uncle's and found his CD collection. He's like ripping all of them to cassette, you know.
Yeah.
So he gave me this cassette of Antichrist Superstar.
Right.
And I'd never heard like it before.
Right.
But it was amazing. It just completely opened everything up. And from that, I got into Ozzy Osbourne, and you know, and it's like a tree with bloody branches. You know, just go there and everywhere. So yeah, Marilyn Manson was definitely my first kind of rock influence, I guess. But yeah, I mean, before that, I'd kind of I've been listening to Cajun and blues music through Dad.
Yeah.
And then my mum, she was a massive fan of Blondie.
Right.
Like, Shawatty.
Yeah, blimey. Yeah. Weren't we all?
Well, that's it. Yeah, so I had quite a mixed musical upbringing, I guess.
And good, yeah.
In teenage years, that's when I sort of found rock music. And then I just sort of, branched out, you know, to like reggae and folk and all this kind of stuff, you know. And I think it's important for any musician to kind of listen to lots of different stuff, you know, because influence comes from everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so
that sounds very similar to me. Because my dad plays and sort of taught me a few chords, and I took it from there. But he's really into blues. Like what I call proper blues, you know, the really early stuff. But then he probably won't thank me for saying this if he watches this, which he will. It's still got some like, who can I think of? Well, I shouldn't have it. They should have it. He got like Cliff Richard vinyl, and he got Smokey and Dr. Hook, and you know, real sort of 70s. I don't want to say easy listening, but that sort of stuff. So but interesting, you see. I never touched the stuff because he's a massive Bob Dylan fan.
Okay, right.
But I wouldn't have touched it. I couldn't listen to it because I couldn't stand his voice. Well, and when you,
I'm going to say something really controversial here.
Go on then.
I don't get Dylan. I don't get it at all. Everything.
Well, I think the thing is, as you get older, certainly from my point of view, stuff like that, I appreciate it more now as a guitar player and that. But when I don't know, when I was 12, and I was listening to, I was listening to something of that sort of era, pop, and then trying to listen to Bob Dylan just didn't work for me. But I think as you get older, you perhaps sort of appreciate what he's trying to do more and what he's saying. You don't listen to the voice so much, but But anyway, without digressing too much, I think that's the perfect sort of musical upbringing that you could have. What you described.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, obviously it all sort of happened by accident, but yeah, I mean, for years and years and years, I was sort of mainly only listening to Cajun and blues music.
Right.
Yeah, then as I say, when I got into my teenage years, that's kind of when I explored more.
Yeah.
And then here I am today.
Yeah. So well, that leads me nicely on then, Jim. So tell me about the accordion then.
Oh, well.
Well, so you were listening to the Cajun stuff quite young then, were you? And is that where the accordion came from then?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. So my dad was in a band called Accordion and the Zydeco Brothers, and I think he joined them late 70s, maybe early 80s. I'm not quite sure, but
yeah,
before I was born. I know that much. So yeah, I was going to gigs in the womb kind of thing.
Yeah.
But my dad's actually a harmonica player. That's his main sort of instrument. You know, he strums a bit of guitar, and you know, he's got a very unique voice. Yeah, so guitar and harmonica. You know, I sort of, well, I've got a Polaroid picture somewhere of me with a harmonica when I'm about 3 months old. You know,
right.
So I've always.
Is that? Oh, I know that. I saw that. Didn't you put a picture up at a festival when you were quite a toddler?
Yeah.
Were you on a harmonica then?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Because I didn't get an accordion until I was about 6 years old. And I'd always wanted an accordion, but they're bloody expensive, I had to wait for it. But I think up until I got the accordion, I was playing guitar, drums, and harmonica. And as soon as I got the accordion, that was it. I just fully invested in accordion because that's what I wanted to do. Then kind of as I got into teenage years, then everything came back. You know, I started playing harmonica and drums, guitar again. You know, but yeah, the accordion it's basically a harmonica with bellows. Essentially, that's kind of, you know, the easiest way I can describe it.
And how many have you got
then? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 at the moment.
Right.
But I've kind of got rid of a few and exchanged a few. So I'm kind of down to sort of bare minimum at the moment. But it you know, I've got basically the ones that I need, sort of thing.
So that's very similar to me with guitars. Well, you can never have too many, can you? Let's be honest, of any instrument. But I'm pretty much the same. That you get so many, and then you think, well, I'll trade that in because this guitar will sound of it. Right. So educate me then, Jim. Right, because I'm a complete novice. All right. Obviously, well, I'm not a novice. I know absolutely nothing about the accordion. How much is a decent accordion then for someone at your level who gigs and needs something decent? How much is a decent one?
Okay, so if you're looking at the little 10-button diatonic boxes, for a new one of them, probably around $3,000.
Right. And that's is that quite a high end one then?
Yeah. That's kind of, you know, as good as you can get, sort of thing. But then the big 3-row that I use for my solo shows, that's even more if you want a new one. And it's because they're all handmade, you know, so it's kind of made to order sort of thing. So that's where and the little 10-button boxes, they're made in Louisiana.
Right.
And there's a few accordion makers, but the one that I stick with is called Martin, which is not Martin the guitar.
Right.
It's a different make, obviously, but yeah, the Martin accordions is for me the best one, just for feel, the tuning and everything. So it's
so that and then right. So what about if you were just starting out on the accordion? How much would you have to spend on one?
You're looking at. Well, I mean, there's you know, you can go on eBay and get a little Hohner box, you know, for probably 2 or 3, maybe 400 quid, you know.
Right.
And that's I had loads of them when I was learning, you know, and then you know, you break reeds and you break the bellows and, you know, put them on the bonfire, and then from the Hohners, then you upgrade to the Chinese models.
Right.
They're ever so slightly better, you know. And then once you've kind of got the hang of the Chinese models, then you're into the, you know, the big boy,
Yeah. Well, that's not massively dissimilar to me and guitars, really, by the sounds of it.
That's it.
It's the equivalent of, you see these days with the guitar. I guess. Well, a lot of the like really cheap stuff where you can buy like a guitar and an amp, and all everything you need to get started. I don't know. You might be able to get. You can probably get one. It might not be they're very much like a generic guitar that's probably made all in the same factory, and then they put whoever's brand name on it. But you might get that for £100, right? But a lot of there's a big movement. I think Indonesia's quite. There must be factories there that do the same thing, produce guitars for lots of, and even some of the higher price brands.
Yeah. Do
lower ranges now, and it seems to be that Indonesia is the place where, like, I play Paul Reed Smith guitars. The handmade ones in America. God, I mean, I won't be able to afford one at the minute because they seem to shot up in price. But they do like an SE range. And some of those are made in Korea, in the factory in Korea, which is really well regarded. But the cheapest ones, I think, I'm sure, are Indonesia. That hotbed of guitar making.
It's funny, right? I'm gonna tell you a story.
Go on, then. I'm gonna tell you a story. Go on. Yeah.
So I was in a band called Lil Jim's Big Squeeze.
Right.
And it was. There was a couple of guys from Belper, Dan Williams and Joe Brown.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a rehearsal at the Sound Hub in Belper, and we were having a lunch break or something, so we went round the corner to the Wilco's, just get a bite to eat and whatnot.
Yeah.
And Joe saw this guitar, right, electric guitar. For £40, right?
Right.
Well, it's £40, you can't go wrong, can you? So he bought it.
Right.
Came back to the rehearsal room, plugged it in. I've got to admit, it sounded great, and he used it for a few years after that, and it's So, but I mean, I kind of I've always thought about getting one of these cheap guitars and kind of doing it up, getting some nice pickups.
Well, I tell you what, Jim. I mean, so like I say, I'm not going to say the brands because I know people who sell them, but you can buy this generic, like, looks like a Strat with an amp, and they're not. But you haven't got to spend a lot more. Like if you went to Squier, which is Fender's more affordable range. They do some great guitars for a few £100 that would be perfect for that. But you could buy, and it'll play great straight away. But if you just forget that it doesn't say Fender on the headstock, I think that's the problem. I don't know whether it's like this.
See, so many people are like, "Oh, I can't have that because it's not this particular brand," and it's, for me, it's about what feels good in your hands.
Yeah.
And if the instrument helps you to play it,
exactly,
that's what you want, isn't it? So really, brands shouldn't matter. But obviously, I know there are. I mean, I've said it already. With Martin accordions. But that's my preferred thing, and it feels right for me.
Yeah. I know somebody from a long, long time ago. I mean, I guess one of the things, I've got a couple of Fenders, and the thing about them is that it's a bolt-on neck, so you can take the neck off and swap them, blah blah blah. And I knew somebody. Oh, let me get with this right. He had a Squier, right, and not a dead cheap one, but a Squier that played really nicely, and he played it a lot. But he swapped the neck for one that said Fender on it because he said he couldn't play live with a guitar that said Squier on it.
Oh,
that was my. I just left him to it.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of thing. I don't get it.
No, you bought the guitar, and I mean, there are numerous quite famous musicians who've played we're talking about Squire, cheap Squires.
Yeah.
You know, for all the career and love them because they found instrument, but that just didn't. Needless to say, yeah, I'm not friends with him now, but not for that reason. That was enough of a reason. But I just, yeah. You can't. Yeah, you're ashamed of your Squire. Yeah, but now you see there are other reasons as a guitar player to swap the neck on your guitar. You might not like the feel of it. Right?
Exactly.
So that's the beauty of bolt-on neck guitars. You can, but it's that old Trigger's broom syndrome, isn't it? Yeah. It's not the same guitar anymore, is it? Yeah, but because you know what, just I know this is me asking you questions, but just for my audience.
Yeah.
There's been a trend in recent years for like guitars with really, really big necks.
Okay.
Right? And I know of people that have swapped necks on a guitar for a different feel. Well, that's cool because and it's almost like you could look at it as if you swap it for this neck and you don't like it, you could probably sell it and swap it for another one or whatever. But just to do that for the brand name, I
don't get that.
No.
I mean, I haven't got a vast guitar collection. Well, you can see my bass just here.
Right.
I haven't got a vast guitar collection, but I've got a Squire Strat.
Okay, yeah, good.
I've got a Yamaha acoustic guitar.
Good stuff. Yeah.
What's that? My bass is a Marlin Sidewinder.
All right, blimey, I remember that. Yeah.
And then me acoustic that I go out with on me solo gigs is a Fender.
Right. Yes, I've seen that. Yeah. Is that the black one?
That's yeah. And I'll be honest, I bought it because it was black.
Oh, that's all right, Jim. I can let you have that. Yeah, I can tell you're a man who likes black. Yeah.
I'm starting to paint my room. You see.
I can see you've got the frog tape up. Yeah, good man. Yeah. You've got a good line. This is the theme, you see, because in the last one that I did with Rob Lane, we talked about tiling at the start. I did. All right. So top painting tip, masking tape is not up to the job. You need frog tape.
Frog tape. There you go. You see. Well, I didn't know about it until someone actually said, like, you need frog tape.
Yeah. Okay. It sticks better than normal masking tape, but it comes off better as well. Anyway, right, there you go. That's this video's DIY tip. Yeah. So right. So educate me once more, then, Jim. Right, if I wanted to get into a band, to play the accordion, because I mean, some of the bands that for example, I'm a Counting Crows fan. They have accordion in a few songs, but if I wanted to listen to proper Cajun or something of that genre, who would I listen to get me into listening to songs with accordion on?
Oh God. Well, my favourite artist / accordion player is a guy called Steve Riley.
Right.
And the full name of the band is Steve Riley and the Mamu Playboys.
Right.
And they've been going for years. I think it started like 86 or 87, something like that. I mean, if you listen to the whole discography, you can hear the evolution where they start off really traditional, and then they kind of start pushing the envelope a bit, and then they kind of, they've gone to this whole, well, not whole, but it's like it's very folky now what they do, but it's Cajun,
Right.
So yeah, Steve Riley is the guy.
I'll have a listen there. Yeah, because I mean I have listened to a little bit of Cajun music, but it's you see I'm not one of these people that say I've got a diverse music taste. I like guitar. Now,
absolutely.
Within that guitar, I like lots of different sorts of guitar, and I probably like a lot of things that a lot of people now would never listen to, but I don't care because I like it. Right? Yeah. Again, you see, me and Rob Lane have both come from my previous one come from like an 80s hard rock thing, you know.
Absolutely.
And I still listen to that stuff, but I'd then listen to some like real acoustic singer-songwriter stuff, and then but I'm always trying to listen to new stuff. But I think Cajun's got a guitar in it, so I'm allowed to listen to it.
And also, the guitarist that is now with Steve Riley, he's been with him for, I don't know, about 20 years or so. Right. But he's a guy called Sam Broussard.
Yeah.
And he is just phenomenal. Right. He's incredible. I think he plays mostly sort of open tune.
Yeah.
With a slide and stuff. It's just.
All right, I'll check him out. Yeah.
And there's a guy that you might have come across called Sonny Landreth.
Yeah. He's very
and he's with Steve Riley, so that's kind of how
I know about it. Yeah, because he does a lot of slide, doesn't he?
That's it. Yeah. And so just awesome. Yeah. Just incredible.
Yeah. One thing I didn't ask you, Jim, just taking a step back again, right? Yeah. So when you got into out of interest, then when you got into Marilyn Manson, and you said a bit about Ozzy Osbourne, is that still the stuff? If you were listening to like rock, is that still what you listen to, or have you found anybody new recently that you like? Or you can say no, because I always say no. Go on. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the most modern artist that I'm listening to is John 5.
All right.
To his solo stuff, which
is interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
What he can't do on guitar is not worth doing. You know.
do you follow him on Instagram?
Yes.
Yeah. I like it. Those short video with the mask, where he sat just doing some like chicken picking or something, and
It's phenomenal. It's absolutely incredible. Like, and it looks like nothing to him. You know, he's just sat there like, whatever. Jesus, how's he doing it? Because that's always something that I've wanted to do. You know, the whole like finger picking thing. Always wanted to do it, but I can't because I have to use my pinky as my thumb. You know, and then all my fingers are the wrong way round. So
I could help you out with that, Jim.
Good man.
I'll send you my rates later. Don't worry. Yeah. No,
absolutely.
So I'm trying to think of some other bands then of that ilk. What about Rob Zombie? Do you like him?
Love him. Yeah. Absolutely love him. Yeah. And I mean, even stuff like Static X.
All right. Yeah.
You know, that real kind of like love it. Absolutely love it. I'm just trying to think kind of what else I listen to in that kind of same vein. I mean, you know, I listen to like a lot of the sort of mainstream rock music. But oh God, on the spot, I can't think.
That's all right. Yeah, come back to it. So one thing I definitely wanted to ask you about before we finish was what's it like playing in front of 20,000 people then, Jim?
Well, right. I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you another story.
Go on,
that because I mean, Cropredy was absolutely the biggest crowd I'd played to. You know, and I'd done. In me kind of late teens and early 20s and stuff, I'd done some big folk festivals, you know, with a band, you know, where you're playing to a few thousand people and whatnot. It's great. But yeah, Cropredy was definitely the biggest crowd I've played to. But, and I have to stress this, that I was more nervous during the sound check when the field was completely empty.
Right.
because I think it was just like you can see
the space,
how big it is, and then when when the 20,000 people were sat down and stood up and whatever they were doing, when they were all in the field, it was fine because it was just a sea of people, and there was a few hundred people at the front of the stage that you kind of focus on, but it was amazing. It was absolutely incredible, and just everything about that festival, how I was treated and just they couldn't do enough for you, and
I guess that's because I was going to say, sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, I suppose that's because it's a pro thing. They know what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And it was amazing to be a part of it because I'd always known about the festival, and when my dad was with the band, that was kind of one of the festivals that they should have played.
Right.
Not sure why they didn't. So yeah, when I when I got the call that I was playing, I was like, phone my dad up. I was like, Dad, never guess where I'm playing.
Very good. So you obviously played quite a lot in Europe as well over recent time. Do you do all that directly, or have you got a booking agent does that for you?
Do everything in house, mate.
Right.
Absolutely, and I do in house.
Yeah.
The only thing that I don't do is my website and my photos, obviously. Right. But I've got a guy that does that. But yeah, literally everything else. I record in this room. And this is my office / rehearsal space / studio / etc. And that's the way that it always has. That's my dad did it with the band, and they got to a really good level, where they were supporting Van Morrison and Canned Heat, playing with Paul McCartney and stuff, so they got themselves,
I guess it's been this way for a long time, hasn't it? But we've got to be self-sufficient.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Absolutely. It's kind of it's funny because you have to get yourself to like a certain level before people take you seriously. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like stuff, and you've got to have so many followers and etc. And it's you kind of see the point, to be honest. But it's just hard work, kind of getting up that level by yourself.
Yeah, I think our fans, right? I think they'd find it quite surprising that when you talk about bands on that next level, how many of them are still having to work for a living?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this, I know a lot of people that have kind of tried doing music full time and quickly realised, how do we make it? I mean, and a lot of people have asked me over the years, like, how I'm so busy.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of bloody hard work.
Yeah.
It's literally sitting in front of the computer and being on your phone all day, every day. Just trying to get gigs and stuff, so it's, a lot of hard work. And I think that kind of, that's what some people don't realise, I don't think.
No, I think you're right. I mean, I think, we know everything's changed over the last, 10, 15 years or whatever. I mean, when Russell and I and Dave were Three Ring Circus and sort of starting out, we got we did a couple of EPs, and then this sounds grand. We got signed, right?
Yeah.
It's only to a small independent label, but he got a really good distribution deal with proper distribution, right? And you think, wow, this is. But we got, for want of a better expression, we got a bit shafted by him. But everything that good that happened around that time was all what we did ourselves still.
That's the thing, isn't it?
And then I think, even you think, right, I've got signed. All right, it's a small label, but never mind. He's got a distribution deal with a proper distribution company. We're going to get the music out there. And you think, right, we'll do as much as we can. He did. The guy we were signed with basically did nothing. But then you get the people come along and say, oh, you know, I'm a manager, or they're not really a manager. They're just some bloke who thinks they can make a bit of money. And we even though we got to that step, and you think, right, this is going to open doors. It's going to get reviewed. It's going to get us gigs. We're going to sell some.
Yeah.
It's still then a massive leap to just get up a little bit further and start making a little bit of money. It's incredible. And this was quite a long time. You know, that was 2004. So, you know, over 15 years ago now. And when that, I think people have to understand, when that doesn't work out how you wanted it to, it can be, you go two ways. It's either a massive blow and you pack up, or you carry on. Well, we carried on, but it teaches you a lot very quickly, doesn't it?
This is kind of a similar conversation I was having a couple of days ago, actually. Just talking about kind of the impact that music and gigging has on your mental health.
Yeah.
You know, so for example, you know, say Friday night you can play a little pub gig somewhere, and for whatever reason, you know, there's not a lot of interaction. Some people aren't interested because you're not playing Wonderwall.
Yeah.
The next night, Saturday night, you're headlining a festival to 2,000 people that go absolutely mental for you, and you come away thinking you're a rock star, you know, and this, that, and the other. And then Sunday afternoon, you're in a pub, you know, but this time people are actually there for you and actually listening. But that's hard to deal with, you know, and when you're doing it every weekend or you know, touring all the time, it's you know, until you're at that level where you're selling out arenas or even just little gigs, like paid entry gigs where people are actually coming to see you, it's the impact that it has on your mental health, and that is difficult. It's you know, but that's something that I've never talked about really.
No, but I agree with you 100%, because it's the difference in those levels of doing things. But it's not just that, is it? I know that sometimes you have a brilliant gig. Yeah. The next day you wake up, you have a come down.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. But by the same token, you have a bad gig. The next day you wake up, you have a come down in a different way. And I think that's what's sometimes hard for our other halves or people we know to understand, is that, well, you had a brilliant gig. How can you feel like, but I want to do it again?
And this is the thing, and I think, you know, I've got to, you know, give a lot of respect to me ex-missus, you know, because she was there for many years, you know, and you come home, you're angry, you're upset, you know, oh, well, what happened? And you try to explain, but it's like, well, that sounds all right. Yeah, but get it? It's I played this and I made loads of mistakes, and you know, but people still cheering it, you know, and they were still appreciative of what I was doing. But for me, it wasn't a great gig. But don't kind of
it's strange, isn't it?
You know.
That's an interesting one, Jim, because I I think if I hopefully done that very often, but if I make a mistake when I'm playing a gig and I know I've done it, it drives me insane, right? But like my dad will say to me when he's been to watch us, well, nobody noticed. He says, "Don't pull them faces when you make a mistake, because then everybody knows, you know." But you take pride in. I mean, particularly like, you know, you and I, if we've written a song that we're playing, you've written it and you've played it umpteen times, and you make a cock up, you think, "What have I done that for?" You know.
I mean, that's the other thing, isn't it? You know, I mean, I was taught sort of very early on, like, if you make a mistake, just ignore it.
Yeah,
it never happened, you know, and that's always the motto that I was kind of brought up with. Just the show must go on,
exactly.
You know.
I'm trying to hammer home. That's hard to say. That's my students all the time, because they'll say, I've been teaching them a song, and I like to push them as well. I like to try and get them doing things they don't think they're capable of doing. And the one way they'll say, I just can't get this. I keep getting to this bit and I can't play it. I says, right, well, look, what you've got to try and get used to doing is getting to that bit. If you make the mistake, I want you to keep going, because otherwise you're going to have this mental block that every time you get to this hard bit, you know it's coming. You can't see past it the other side. Yeah.
And funnily enough, when I was down in Derby, you know, and kind of, I'd like to go and watch as much music as I could, you know, when I was free.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd go to some open mic nights, you know, just as a punter, just to watch, you know, and sometimes every now and again there'd be an act that would just stop. You know, it's like, oh, I went to the wrong chord, so I'll start the song all over again. It's like, well, no, just carry on. You're just like, oh, that's the wrong chord. I'll find the right chord. Here we go. You know, but I think it's just all experience, isn't it? You know, you can't kind of, especially being on stage, you can't teach that. It's just something that comes from of actually being on stage playing with people. And it is completely different from playing in your bedroom or playing with your teacher, you know, and kind of, you know, that one-on-one sort of interaction. It is completely different because maybe I shouldn't say this, but everyone is judging you.
Of course they are.
Once you've dealt with that, the fact that people are judging you. I mean, for many years, I wasn't nervous, but I was, you know, I felt like I had to win everyone's acceptance. But now, since I've been doing the solo thing, I just go and do what I do, you know. And if people don't like it, well, that's fine. Some positions and music that I don't like, you know, but that's fine, you know. And I think actually it was kind of the happiest that I'd been in a performance setting, really. But I'd kind of switched off all this kind of like, I've got to get them to like me, I have to do this, that and the other, you know. And when you just go there, you're going to do a job, but you know that you'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I think that takes a lot of the stress and stuff out of it, you know. But again, you know, I mean, when I started gigging, I was about 10, I think, when I started. So 22 years, well, 23 years. Yeah. You know, and only now I'm kind of coming to this, you know, and that's over 20 years, you know. So it's it's a long road.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. No, I think I'm glad you've talked about that, because I think it's important, and we're all sort of told in this day and age to be more open, and particularly without getting too not soppy, but as men, we're sort of told we don't, you know, blimey, I could cry at the pinch of a hat, so I don't need to worry about that, you know. Sad film, I'm gone. But I think it's hard to explain to people sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And it's, sometimes you just need that person there that's just going to listen and but then you kind of, sometimes you'll be really high because you've had a great gig or you've written a fantastic song and you're really excited about it. But then, the other side of it is the anger and the upset and then a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us have vices.
Yeah.
Not all of them good.
Buying accordions,
Buying accordions, yeah. And it's, but I guess for me personally, it's kind of, it's it feels good at the time, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
It's not so good in the long run, really.
No. I mean, I think Russ and I have not been playing as much over the last couple of years as we'd like to have done.
Yeah,
but real life gets in the way. You can't help that these days. I suppose I'm in a more, people would look at what I do. I play guitar all day. But I tell you what, it's bloody hard work sometimes. Now, that's not because my students, I've got a real core of students. I mean, some of my students now, I bet I've been teaching for 4 or 5 years since,
Yeah.
So I must be doing something right, because a lot of them are, I'm reasonably good, touch wood, at keeping up with them. But I don't think I was ready when I first started doing this full time, how much work it involves to do it in the way I want to do it. Yeah. So again, you see that can take a toll sometimes, because I've always been a very conscientious person, and I think, God, I haven't done that for them yet. Oh, this is not quite how I want it to be. So because everybody learns differently as well. So the thing that I found, Jim, is that I'll teach a song 5 times, and then the 6th person will come along and they can't get it because they need it explained. And I have in the past had to redo a complete lesson just for that person. But I want them to be happy, because I want them to be as enthusiastic about it as I am.
Exactly, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's everyone learns differently.
Yeah.
And I mean, in all honesty, I think the only music lessons that I ever had, and I only had 2 or 3, but they were for drums,
right?
Actually. And the reason that I stopped was because he wanted to teach me all the rudiments and this, the other, and I just wanted, I could play drums to a point.
Yeah.
I wanted to, kind of, I wanted to learn what I wanted to learn, basically. And he was very kind of like, we're going to do this, that, and the other. Yeah. Okay, no, it
doesn't work.
I mean, I've sat down with a few guys, like accordion players, and I'll say, look, I'm learning this song, but there's a little bit just here. Can you teach me that?
Yeah.
And they'll teach me that lick or whatever. So it's not really a lesson as such. It's just kind of, passing on knowledge.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is, this is just my opinion, but I think that separates people. How can I explain this? There's a difference between teaching somebody something and being a good teacher. Yeah, that, you know what I mean? It's you've got to be able to put it across.
Yeah.
Now, I think the problem I've had, not me personally, but I've seen, is that people get put off exactly for what you just said. Right now, occasionally, well, I'll suggest some songs to a student to listen to that. And don't get me wrong, I do lessons that are pure theory because people want to do it, but I never make them do it. Yeah. But I think I probably make more work for myself because I'm very student-led. I'm always asking people, You know, are there any songs you want to learn? And I make more work for myself doing that, but I know that's going to keep them engaged.
This is the thing. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was going to say something. It's completely gone out of my head. What was I going to say?
Come back to Fred. I'll save it. Don't worry about it. Yeah. It'll come back to you. But no, I think that's important. I think you say to somebody, right, we're going to learn this today. Now, if you can put it across in a certain way, you can get them to do it. Right?
Yeah.
But exactly. And I always have this slight concern that if it's going to make them, and I want to keep them engaged.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I make a hell of a lot more work for myself. But having said all that, not very often, but sometimes it does get me listening to something that I probably wouldn't have listened to. But I also see my sort of job as a music teacher is not only making them up, but I also like to get them, particularly some of the younger ones. I do like to suggest things because it gets them listening to something they might not have listened to.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I was. I've just remembered it now. I know pretty much naff all about theory. I really don't know much, and what I do know is what I've learned from talking to other musicians. You know, and it kind of like on a gig situation, you know, and something comes up, it's like, oh, what's that? And it's this, blah blah blah, you know. It's, oh right, okay. But essentially, I don't know much.
Right.
I can't read or write music. I can't even read tab, to be honest. So I do everything by ear.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of. I know it's probably a bit old school now, but it's kind of like that thing of if it sounds right, it probably is.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's well, actually, this was a few years ago now, but I really wanted to get into guitar properly.
Right.
Well, properly.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a lot of Ozzy Osbourne at the time,
right?
And just some of those riffs, just pow, you know. And so I looked into Jakey Lee's.
All right, yeah.
And Jesus Christ, I must have played all day and night for about 2 weeks. Just to learn that Bark at the Moon.
Right, yeah.
Oh, bloody hell.
He's a fantastic guitar player, yeah.
But that's also the other thing about me, is that, you know, I won't learn something simple, you know, like I won't learn EAD. Right. I'll go for the, like, Jakey Lee. You know,
yeah, maybe build up to it.
Yeah. I don't work up to it. I just go straight. You know. But then I think you were talking about in one of your other videos about like perseverance and kind of, you know, and I would spend 2 weeks just learning Bark at the Moon riff. You know, and I kind of got it after 2 weeks. And then I was like, well, I can't use this for anything. So
yeah, but what you've got to try and get the technique out of it, where you're playing it, you know. So that is then, you see, a little bit of a follow and then into music theory, because once you can work out what you're doing, why you're doing it, that could then help you. Anyway, let's not go into a guitar lesson. But I was just going to say, Jakey Lee, have you ever listened to the band he was in called Badlands?
No, I haven't.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, they did. I think they did 2 albums, and then they did a third one, which was like outtakes and things. Voodoo Highway, I think the second one's called. I actually prefer that to the first album, but it's out of print a lot. I had it on cassette tape, showing my age, and I can't find the CD for a reasonable price. It's very expensive. But yeah, I really like that album. Yeah. Right, so to perhaps wrap things up a little bit, because otherwise we'll be here all day. I knew I could rely on you for a good chat. You see. What's going to happen then, Jim? Where do you have you started trying to book anything in yet for next year for yourself, or no?
No, I mean, this is kind of the other side of things, in that, you know, I'm wondering to myself whether to wait until 2022, because, and there's been a few people on Facebook kind of say, oh yeah, what festivals for next year and blah blah, and actually, if you look at the lineups, they've just taken the lineup that would have happened this year and they've next year. So, is there going to be any festival work? Well, not really. So that's your summer pretty much done with.
Yeah.
So then I think, well, you know, is it worth waiting? You know,
yeah.
So then next year I'll work on getting 2022 as busy as possible. Hopefully, when everything's calmed down.
Yeah. We've all had the vaccination by then.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at the moment, and that kind of makes the most sense to me right now.
I understand. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be if I don't think we certainly aren't going to be playing this year.
No.
And unless it was fantastic good. No, I'm joking. If you know, but just on the level where I just can't see anybody going to be able to play much this year. And I tell you what, the big thing for me is, how confident can we be that we're going to be able to get people to come?
Well, now then we're entering a whole new thing, you see, and this is another reason, you know, because do you want to be responsible, like the person responsible that's attracting a load of people that might not face masks, you know, and all right, they're going to be 2 meters distant, but you know, and that's the other thing, you know, so there's a lot to kind of think about, you know, and I think there's how do I put this? I think it's a little bit selfish.
Yeah, I agree with you.
If I'm being completely honest, you know, what some of the musicians that are out gigging, and you know, if you look on Facebook a little bit, there's been people gigging throughout lockdown and stuff, and I don't agree with that at all. You know, but you know, on the same note, I just think it's selfish. You know, like we're all missing it. We all want to get back to doing it, but I want to wait until it's completely safe and do my job properly.
I agree with you. Yeah. I think there's too many imponderables and too much to think about from our point of view as performers, and then, like you say, from the crowd, however big that may be, in a pub. That's a pub first and not a venue. You know.
And also on the other side, let's just because this is I haven't seen anyone mention this at all. The pubs, right? They've been closed for what, 3-4 months?
Yeah, 4
not
months.
Not making money, but still paying out for electric and blah 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 blah. The last thing they want to do is spend, you know, whatever you charge on having someone play a bit of music, you know, and
particularly if they don't play Wonderwall.
I'll pay double if you play Wonderwall.
Well, so then, Jim, let's wrap things up then by saying here's to 2022 then.
Come on.
All right, thanks for doing that, mate. I appreciate it. See you soon.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.